Marky Worthington Podcast all day.
All day.
Dream by night.
Don't buy me a drink. Just give me $10.
All day.
Go down to the strip club with your floppy disk and turn it into a hard drive.
Yeah, right. You'll get fucking thrown out by Big Tony. We're here to name names and make people feel more ashamed for shit that they're not proud of.
Don't blow it. Keep it simple. Count your money.
Oh, whatever it is.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Marky Worthington Comedy Podcast. This is episode 48 with Daniel Muggleton. It's good to have Daniel on the show. He's been on the dream guest list for a little while. It was cool to actually get him on here. This is my first video episode that was done online, so I hope the layout and everything all looks good for everyone watching at home. If you're listening to the audio episode of this and you want to see the video, it's on my YouTube channel, which is the same as my social media for Facebook and Instagram. It's just all Marky Worthington Comedy on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you want to check me out on Twitter, it's Marky Comedy. And if you have any feedback you want to give for the show, just put it in the comment section on the YouTube video or on the social media posts, or you can email me directly at markyworthingtoncomedy@gmail.com. Make sure you also check out Daniel's social medias. He's got a whole bunch of cool online content, and I've put links to that in the description of the show and also in the social media posts behind this episode. So cheers for tuning in, and let's get into the episode.
I love it. I love that it's the Marky Worthington podcast with Marky Worthington.
What's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see and hear from you. The people probably don't understand just how long it took for that to be successful. But now I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, Mark. I'm feeling happy.
Awesome, dude. Well, it's you can see exactly how skilled I am with technology just by the length of the beard. Like, I feel like as far as people with beard over 10 inches go, I'm probably the quickest to be able to set up a Zoom call.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of just because of the game Wizards. Was it called the Games Wizards? Like,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's like a man dressed like a wizard who apparently knew a lot about video games. And I think people have kind of decided that is the aesthetic. You know? That's how we're going to do it from now on.
Yeah, well, it comes down to necessity. It's funny, like, all of a sudden people just learnt technology when they made it the law to check into places.
Yeah. Oh, man. The QR code used to be such a mystery, but now even the dumbest can check in on their own.
Yeah, people that and also it's just been a proven thing, dude. Like, QR codes for forced check-ins and sports bet, they're the two things that have made people that were more or less technology illiterate fucking just work it out.
Yeah, it's like, I need to be able to gamble on this immediately. Fine, I'll learn how to download an app. I can do it.
Dude, I MC an open mic so you're based in Sydney, yeah?
Yes, I'm a Sydney person, currently locked down, which is why I was available for this podcast. Usually, I would have politely declined, but given the lockdown, it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, given the content, like, in hindsight, you'll know to politely decline in future. But for now, I'll enjoy this moment of glory while I've got while Sydney's on the ropes. But yeah, so I run an open mic in Balconnen in Canberra, and I've had, like, have you ever, like, MC'd open mics or sort of, like, run a room or anything like that?
Oh my God, are you actually asking me this question? Have you done no research on me at all? Really? Dude, I ran Mug and Kettle Comedy in Sydney for, I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 years. And, like, that was an open mic, a sign up on the night open mic, as many acts as wanted to perform open mic. And I would host the second half of that for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and continue hosting the second half for, like, maybe a little bit longer. Like, yeah, I've done it. Like, I feel like I saw so much open mic in 2014 that I've still seen all of it.
Yeah,
you know?
You've seen enough.
I've seen. Like, I got an open mic now, and I'm like, I fucking saw this guy. 2015. I know exactly where this joke is going. He's going to attack. Like, I got it.
Fuck, dude. Look at that, man. You straight up big shotted me. You're like, dude, first of all, you should be glad I'm here. Second of all, you didn't even fucking research me before we did this thing.
I honestly, for a second, thought that question was a goof. I thought you were messing with me, being like, hey, Dan, you ever done any of that? Like,
No, I just genuinely sound fucking condescending when I talk to people that are a lot higher than in the totem pole than me.
Mate, no totem poles here. You know how to work all this fancy technology. I am the ground supporting the totem pole.
Yeah, you're just fucking good at comedy. That's like the thing I should be actually focusing on.
Hey, I have never told anyone that they should focus on being good at comedy. If they choose to do so, yeah, fucking give it a red hot go. But any other pursuit is more valuable and remunerated better. Any other pursuit. A games wizard is more respected than
Fucking hell, how's that? Been in the episode for 5 minutes, 40 seconds for those of you playing at home, and fucking it's already chucked a call back in here already. So that's how the professionals do it, man.
Look, man, I've been bringing things up in conversation for years. I'm an expert. Very comfortable with it.
Was that when you met Jeff at that open mic? Jeffrey Charles, one of the local Canberra comedians there. I think he put me onto you actually, as far as like meeting you in person, because he had you at one of his rooms here in Canberra.
Yeah, that was the last time I was in Canberra, and yeah, Jeff was from Mug and Cattle, and it's just the weird thing about Jeff is like when he was at Mug and Cattle when I think I was 23 or something, maybe 24.
Yeah,
and like in my head, he was like 35. Like he had a job. I think that was like kind of like a wife, like maybe like a child was like impending. Not even like like one was coming. And I was like, look at this old man. I'm the youth. I'm smoking. He's procreating. And then like now when I see him, like I realize he's like 3 years older than me. Like there's no age difference at all. Like, and I was like, man, I used to think you were this grown up, and I was just so mistaken the whole time.
Dude, I feel like that's a big 3 years though. Like that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think that is a very good point.
Yeah, those 3 years, it's like when I was 15, dude, my and I just turned 16, dude. My girlfriend that I was dating was also just turned 16, as like the same age, dude. And she left me because she had a hots for some dude that was like 19. And I was just like, that guy is such a fucking adult. Like, there is no way that I'll ever compete with that guy. Like 3 years in that point was so much for me. But then when I was 19, I was just like, there is no fucking way that I would ever let a 15-year-old look at me.
Yeah. I didn't actually think about the creepy side of that. I was on the, as a 16-year-old, 19-year-old seems like you're about to get your super. Like
yeah.
Line you are. But yeah, like, I'm trying to remember because I was actually, when you said that, I was thinking about two of my friends. Like one of them, he's like married, he's like high school sweetheart, but like I think he was 18, she was 17 or maybe 16. It was like, very ballpark in there. Like they met when they were still at school, kept going out. Yeah. And like we gave him so much shit for being a pedophile, like all that stuff. Like just like, dude, like, did you meet her at the playground? Like blah, blah, all that.
Yeah.
Because you're 18 and you think you're funny, right? And then now another friend of mine who did that with me, he's like 32 and dating someone who just turned 21. And we're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, good for him, Like that's nice. Everyone's of age. But like, yeah, as soon as you're above 18, anything below 18 is fucking creepy. I'm with you on that. 100.
Yeah. No, fucking weird, dude. So like even when I was like, so I usually I'm a relationship guy, right? Like if I hook up with someone, it's with commitment of at least 6 months.
Sure.
Yeah, like I'm just that kind of motherfucker, man. I can't just jump into something for like For me to get laid, I need to show that I'm more committed than a one night stand. That's the sort of ponds I fucking fish in.
I like it. It's like you've brought the beard to everyday life. You know, it's just
dude, this beard is
it's powerful. It's in the making.
It's a relationship beard, yeah. It's like when you count the notches on a tree, like each few inches of my beard is how like a relationship.
That's quite. I like that. That's kind of adorable.
Yeah, it's like
because like your next girlfriend is going to want you to cut it off because you're like that's your ex, that's your ex, that's your ex.
Oh, dude, that's like a thing. I could totally just imagine just every new girlfriend you have to completely shave. So whoever's got the longest beard has been with his girl for the longest, or partner, or whatever.
It's amazing. No religions have really had a crack at that. It seems like good policy,
Dude, I can tell you for a fact in my experience, it's been a long-lasting thing when it comes to girls and their bush, because I can tell you the longer the bush, the longer we've been together.
Look, I want you to know I'm a professional, but that threw even me. I don't know where to take the conversation after that, because like with that beard, I'm just like,
Yeah, exactly, dude. That's the thing. Actually a point. Like when I'm on stage, I find that if I address the fact that I have a beard, like I do like a self-deprecation bit or some shit like that, it's nearly like there's like a sigh of relief in the room because they're like, finally he addressed his fucking appearance.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, like. But I bring that as like in any gig you do, everyone needs context for you. That's like what like a famous comedian doesn't have to deal with, because like everyone already has context. Like they know their old jokes, they know like about them. Like as soon as they come on stage, they're ready to go. But like when you're complete unknown, like people need to be like, why is this person here? What's going on? Am I safe?
Yeah.
What's happening? And like by addressing something to do with how you look, it is the most basic example of giving them like, oh, okay, he's at least got a mirror. Like that's good. Like, I think this would be good. He's got a mirror. He's looked at himself before. He's thought about it. This is good stuff.
True. It's also like, I feel like I actually was listening. I used to listen to The Church What's Happening Now with Joey Diaz. He'd have all these like comedy like philosophies about shit like, hey, if you want to like, address yourself, do it in the middle of your set, because like don't do it at the start, because they'll like the audience will only focus on that thing for the rest of your set and not listen to your jokes. And like he's got all these like theories about like the right way to do stuff.
That's interesting. I mean, everyone does. Like I think every comedian's like, hey, the way that I do it, that's the right way. Like every other way is wrong. I'm definitely right. Like I think that's comedians. It's just like, this is definitely what you got to do. Because I mean, like, I'm telling you the same thing. Like I started doing it in the UK because I'd wear like a tracksuit and I'd have my accent, which is clearly not British, or not like from Liverpool, for example, because I could wear red a lot. And so like by kind of addressing immediately that I was Australian and I wasn't from there, but I knew I was wearing a tracksuit, they'd, it'd be out of their mind being like, where's that guy from?
Yeah.
Like, otherwise that's what's with that? We're confused by that.
Yeah, good point, actually. Like you get I even noticed that if I do comedy in a different city, I sometimes need to like address that sometimes, like, or like if I'm reading the crowd, I might feel like a less tension if I just address the fact that I'm not from that town or whatever. Like, for example, if I'm I've done Riverina comedy at Wagga before, and like they know that I'm not Dane Simpson. They know that I'm not the comedian for Wagga.
Yeah.
So, like if I was a comedian in Wagga, they would know me most likely if they're a comedy crowd. So I find sometimes the first thing I want to do is address the fact that I'm not from Wagga, or I'm like have a joke related to, you see all the time with like touring comedians, and when you do it yourself, there's like always the icebreaker of just like, fuck, you got enough roundabouts here in Canberra or some shit like that like.
Yeah, you just address where you are, because like it puts you in the room, it puts them in the room, and it's like it's normal. Like that's the one thing. Like I'm a big, if you want to talk about like comedy theories, I guess, like I'm a big like comedy is just speech. Like it's just how we talk to each other, but it's a one-sided conversation, And so like in an interaction, if you're not from somewhere, you'd probably mention it. Like it'd probably be part of the connecting with the other person. You'd be like, oh yeah, so I'm new to Wagga. Like, where do I go to the, like, it just, it puts everyone at ease. So it's the same. Like that's, yeah. The only thing that fucks me off is when a comedian's like, I got to point this thing out. Like, especially if they're bombing or something. He's like, well, this isn't going well. And it's like, that's not enough. Your job is to point things out and then make a joke about it. If you're just looking to point things out, the job you're looking for is reporter. That's TV weatherman. That's traffic reporter in the helicopter. That's when you just describe stuff. That's that job. Commentator for sport, also useful. But comedy, we do jokes at the end. That's the big difference.
That's hilarious, dude. That's actually a really good point. And like after being such a open mic entrepreneur like yourself, you've probably seen the best and worst of it.
Oh yeah, I've seen the worst jokes ever. It's like, that Seinfeld thing about like great and sucks, and how like great and sucks are actually really close. Like everyone thinks they're like poles apart. And like, yeah, the worst comedy you've ever seen is very close to the best comedy you've ever seen. Like it just totally comes around like a ring.
Yeah.
I will never forget that. And you see the best routine of your life from like Dave Chappelle live, and you're like, I'll never forget that. But I also remember the thrift shop parody, which was very homophobic. Like, that's right there.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah, it's walking that line, and also I've seen some of the great sets sets that are going really well, just like instantly turn because of like a joke or like something that wasn't relatable or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I've seen at an open mic with the fast turnaround. So what I was getting to before was the open mic I run. I've actually looked over. I can't just leave something unsaid, can I? I've got to go back. Like I had a point to make at the start of this, and I have to like go back and then reiterate on the thing that I was going to say. But we're talking about sports bets. I've literally seen like a dude just off the stage before he goes up, like a walk up that wasn't on the list. Hey, can I get up? Yeah, sure. And he's like, just going like, come on, just watching like a dog race on his phone before he goes on stage.
I like that. I'm not against that.
Just having some money on the dogs, and then like you realize the race is on just before you get on stage. But like you're saying before with the running the open mic, you might see like, because it's got such a fast turnaround between comedians, you'll see someone just like absolutely decimate the room in like a 5-minute set.
Yeah. And
the next person will get residual laughs from the person before. Like you can sometimes walk into a hot room and just be like, oh yeah, I've like the last guy warmed this up. I basically just need to keep it going as an MC. Oh yeah, just keep it going for the next comedian, bring up the next person. And they might be any other day of the week just completely bombing, right? But they get up after that person and kill. Because people are like ready to laugh.
Yeah, because everyone's having a good time, like the what they need to add is that much lower. You know what I mean? Like if everyone's on cocaine, like what they have to say doesn't need to be that interesting. Like the bar is just like the pure aggression of them saying it will push them to be like, here we go, here we are. Like it's just the atmosphere you're in. Like my favorite as like seeing an open mic is just watching that goodwill drain. Like that first act, the crowd's loving it, they're having a good time, they're like laughing, being like, how good was that guy? Next person comes up, how good's this guy? We're enjoying that. And they realize like 30 seconds in that they're garbage.
Yeah.
Switches to silence like that. Because like, the human I feel like the human collective mood shifts so quickly. Like, it's just they all immediately agree together. Like, I had this great bomb at Melbourne Comedy Festival this year, like doing silent comedy. So it was like everyone had headphones on, and I was like doing my set into a thing. Like, I had headphones, like, you know, it was just a weird environment. I'd done like so well at these shows, like the first two. This guy was like, "This is my new king. I'm gonna book him all the time." I was on with like Lawrence Mooney and Jamoan. Like,
Holy
you know,
shit!
these
Yeah.
pro dudes. And I'm like, "Let me show you how it's done, old timer. Let's go." And then I go up and I'm just murdering. Like, it's going so well as usual. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, here we go. And then I just say one thing and lose them, and they do not laugh ever again. Like, I think it was 7. I was like 7 or 10 minutes. Like, it was so long that I had to keep doing not a single laugh. I tried everything. I moved every which way. I talked to them. I did that joke. I did this bit. Just silence. And then the MC goes on and they start laughing again immediately. And it was great because Lawrence Mooney just went up to me and he was like, "Man, seeing you walk off was so funny because you shook your head like a batsman in cricket who got out. Like, you didn't know what the ball did. You just kind of like, what the fuck was that?" And
Holy shit.
I can still picture it. Like, it's been a while since I've bombed like that. Like, that was like, it was just brutal. Like, it was so wild. Just the silence, like in unison in an instant. It was like 100 people. They were just like, nah.
Holy fuck. Dude, it fucking, I mean, I think you're never really safe from a solid bombing, even when you're like been doing it for fucking years, man. Like, it's back to Diaz real quick on his thing on bombing. He's like, dude, he will call his co-host for the podcast he used to do, laughing and be like, "Dog, you won't believe it. I bombed. Like, it feels tremendous. I like got it out of my system." Because he's like, now I'm good. Like, the way he looks at it is like Goodfellas. Like, the way I see it, everybody's got to take a bombing someday. Like, it's
I mean, it's funny because like, the one thing with that is like I went from that to like another set, like I had to run across town to do it, and I think the time in between was like 10 minutes. Like, there was like no time in between sets, and I was like in a cab the whole time, and I like ran backstage and I just like go on, and you've still got this like bomb energy all over you, and you're just like, I'm gonna walk out and they're not gonna laugh again. Like, what the fuck? And then you kind of get out and you're in the clear, but like, it is like fight or flight because like you are just paying so much more attention to everything you do. Like, you are like, am I standing right? How's my mic hand? Is it high enough on the mic?
Yeah.
That's good. I should look at that person. I should fucking make eye contact with that piece of shit over there. I'm not bombing again. You know, you pointed at them like it's their fault. It's crazy. And they just have no idea. Like, as a crowd, they're just like, yeah, cool, this guy's fine. Like, you know, they don't know the internal, like, they don't have the narrative that you have, you know, like, you've got this linear progression of your night, whereas they're like, I'm 2 beers in, I'm trying to fuck her, just talk. Like, I don't even want to be here, you know? We're like, I'm so important.
Oh man, 100%. Like, the internal dialogue is partially what I just do on stage. Like, I will sometimes just not so much the commentary that you're saying about, like, where you're like, well, that didn't work, but it's more so like I'll chop and change exactly what I did before, where I was like, oh, I have to mention this sports bet thing from the start of the podcast that no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah.
I'll do that on stage. I'll be like, oh, do you notice how I just dropped that thing that I started talking about because this is more important to me? And like, a lot of what I do with my comedy is actually just addressing my fucking internal thought process, which to some people is funny.
I really like that, which to some people is funny, with the subtext being, and other people don't find it funny.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'm commentating on my own commentary at that point.
Yeah. I mean, that can be really interesting when it's like done well and stuff. I don't know. I think I'm pretty loose. Like, you just want to be present. Like, that's all it is. If you're in the room with them and like 100% there, like, it tends to be a good time, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it reminds me of like the first time you go for a driving test or whatever. And it's like you're saying, like, have I got my hand on the mic stand? Am I looking at that guy correctly? Or like, have I got my other hand in the right spot? You know, am I holding the mic close enough to my mouth? All that shit. And then you're more likely to just fuck it up because you're just too like obsessed with the finer points. Whereas like you're saying about being present, some of the best sets I've had have just been where I've like just gone out and just like done crowd work or with a bit of material or riffed or some shit, and it's just fucking happened.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And like, yeah, I mean, if you look at the driving test, like the reason that you're worried about all that stuff is like because you're not good at driving. Like you suck. You're 17. Like you want, like you haven't even got your P's. Like you're terrified every second. Like
your missus just left you for a 19-year-old.
Exactly. Oh, it's been a rough day. You know, a lot's happened. He's got his green peas. No wonder she fucks him. But like, yeah, it's really funny because I've actually got like a theory that like the greatest like human attribute is our ability to essentially become bored of anything. Like, no matter, like, you know, like if we were to do surgery, we would be like, oh my fucking, like, this is crazy. Like, I'm cutting it. It's bleeding. Like, look at that. You can see inside the torso. Like, that's nuts. Like, dude, take a photo of me with the torso. Like, you know, like that's kind of where you're at. Whereas a doctor is like cutting up, being like, oh man, I forgot to pay my power bill. That's so fucking annoying. Whatever. I get home. Like, well, has my wife done the washing? No, I can't remember. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're in that, you know, they're doing the thing because they're so bored of it. Their hand is fucking steady. Like if they were excited, it'd tremble because they were excited. So like the boredom is necessary, you know?
That's a good theory.
Look, it's been a keeper. Like it's never even made its way on stage. It's just a genuine thing, I think, and it really makes me feel comfortable. Makes me feel safe.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you haven't burnt it on this podcast, so
thank you very much.
Yeah, it's not going quite out to the masses. I feel like you've.
I thought you were going to say, if it makes you feel any better, I'm not bored. And I was like, thank you so much. It's really kind. I'm glad.
You already were like assuming that I was going to say that.
Yeah, I was raised right, man. I don't assume anything positive. That's, you know, it's just having a good father, you know?
Oh man, that's what it's about. Like, I feel like when my first few sets were all about childhood, like random shit that my dad would say to me or whatever like that, as if it wasn't blatantly obvious that I had fucking didn't have daddy issues or some shit at this point with this fucking everybody stare at me beard and shit. But
yeah.
But I feel like that is a lot of what makes us, well, I'm not going to rope you and I together in this thing, but I'm just saying what makes comedians tick is like that, the experiences that they've had in their life that leads them to like these funny situations or obscure ways of looking at shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because, like, have you heard that theory where it's like, comedians is a comedian like a comedian, or are they just like a funny person, or are they just someone who's had like funny things happen to them? Like, do you subscribe to any of that?
Look, to be honest with you, like I spend a fair bit of time hanging out with like there are some comedians that are just like they got a missus and 2 kids waiting for them at home. They come in, do their stage time and leave, and that's their like fun thing to do. But there's some people that will like live it. Like, they'll hang out after the gig, fucking chat to everybody. I still feel like that circle of 4 comedians talking in the car park while one's trying to fucking work out how much longer he needs to stay before he can drive after having 2 pints is the best fucking, like, little group of people to... That's, like... I've had more laughs there than some people being on stage. And, like, I feel like that is kind of that... like environment where you talk about shit like that, like things that have happened in the past or like crazy shit, or like someone will say, hey, you know that story I told on stage, that's actually fucking true, like some crazy story that someone might tell, and then you're like, holy fuck, is this just a coincidence that 90% of the people in this community have had some traumatic shit happen to them most of their life?
See, this is the thing. I think comedians are kind of self-important, and I say that speaking over you while you listen intently. But like, I think everyone goes through that stuff. Like, I don't think there's many people who live like a trauma-free kind of Teflon life. And if they do, fucking hats off to them. I'm sure you're very happy being a real estate agent. You can. Like, yeah, I think we just, it's the way that like we process trauma, because like I think that is like something that I got from my dad, like very much so. Like when his mother died, like my grandmother, like we were making jokes on the way to the funeral and the way from the funeral to the wake, you know, like about her death, which we had not processed at all. But that's how, you know what I mean? Like
that's how you deal with it, yeah.
Yeah, that like plus time shit is bullshit. It's like, no, just get the jokes out. Like that'll make this more comfortable somehow.
Well, I heard, back to another podcast. I'm basically just, I don't hang out with people because of lockdown, so I just like pretend that the podcasts that I listen to are actually my friends.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to your manifesto. Continue.
Yeah. Democracy manifest. But they were actually talking about, like, I don't want to misquote this, but I'm pretty sure that it was when Mitzi Shaw died for the comedy store. And Pauly Shaw, after the funeral, they all went out for food, and he looks at the menu and goes like, fuck, if Mum's seen the prices here, she'd die again. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, that's how people sometimes deal with shit, by making jokes about it. But yeah, like you might like you that's an interesting point there with everybody going through that shit. But I feel like comedians are more likely to talk openly about it, which is why it seems like we're a higher percentage of people that have experienced shit.
Yeah, I mean, we're willing to talk about it publicly, charge an entry price in exchange for, you know, some stars from reviewers. That's kind of what separates us. Other people have the dignity to get blackout drunk, whisper it to their Uber driver. You know, like it's different.
I know, right? The people that just get blackout drunk just are fucking gentlemen. Whereas I will charge, like, I'll find a way to, instead of paying somebody to listen to my bullshit, I'll find a way for someone to fucking pay me to basically do my therapy.
Yeah, it's like, no, you this is, my trauma is so entertaining. You should cancel your other plans, get a babysitter, and pay me $29. And by the way, afterwards, I will be selling T-shirts to help you remember the trauma. But it's like, I don't know if it's like always trauma. Like, I think we do talk about trauma sometimes, but like, I forget who it was. Someone just talked about it. Comedians are just like annoyed by stuff. You know, that's kind of all, like you break it down to anything. It's like we're frustrated by this thing that happened. And like, we've just found a way to monetize that. Like, we're just kind of like, this fucking, like, you know, like real estate, like, you know, you got annoyed by seeing a real estate agent with that.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of bury it, and you're like, an opportunity to call them a cunt. Bang. This podcast got it. And you get it out. Like, it's probably like when they yell in yoga. You ever seen that yelling yoga where they're like it's just that. But, you know.
Dude, people at the gym, like, yelling between or like towards the end of their set, it's like, dude, I always wear headphones to the gym or whatever. Like, I mean, yeah, people out there are just shocked to fucking know that I even go. But I
mean, I thought you were talking about the gym purely anecdotally. You know, like you heard it down the line, bit of hearsay. But fucking good on you, dude. Get those gains.
well, I'll sometimes go and just there we go. I'm weaning off the frequency of my visits. Sometimes I'll go like so on my annual visit to the gym. I will sometimes hear people over the top of my headphones. I'll be like, damn, that person is really fucking yelling. Like, how could you? It's weird to think that someone's not at all concerned about their appearance or what people think of them, to the point like I want that kind of fucking energy where I can just go to the gym and openly yell between sets and not give an actual fuck about what anyone thinks about me.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do that either, which is real funny because, like, have you ever had people say that to you? Like, you know, you're so brave for going up there, like, I couldn't do what you do. Have you had that from, like, audience members and shit?
Usually it's just to, like, make me feel better about bombing. But, yeah, it's, like, I've heard from other comedians that that's a thing. No, I get it from musicians because I like the bar that I do my open mic at. I also work there, and they have a lot of that's primarily a live music venue.
Oh, cool!
And the musicians that play there will also know me from going to comedy there, and they'll be like, regularly I'll get people come up to the bar that are in bands and just say like, oh man, you're the, like, I say like, dude, good fucking set, or like, hey man, you like, that was really cool, what sort of guitar you use? And I'll chat to them and be like, nah man, I got no skill, man, compared to comedy. Like, I'm just like, dude, you have to, like, for me it's the other way around. Like, me thinking about going out with a guitar and like trying to play a song without fucking it up is daunting. Like, I don't, there's no set thing, like, for me to, I can do whatever I want when I go out with a mic, but when you go out with a guitar, like, you need to have some sort of, like, song that you need to play. Whereas if I want to change my set midway through, or something happens to the audience, I want to address it or whatever, I can. Whereas it's so, like, linear to be a musician. I think that in my mind, it'd be harder to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one because I feel the same way. I'm like, what are you talking about? You guys have like actual talent, and you have to transport drums. How the fuck do you do that? I don't know. They seem big. Like, I couldn't handle that.
You see them stacked up like a wedding cake, like at the end of the gig. You're like, how did that all pack up?
Dude, like, how do you guys can fit that, all that equipment and your egos in a van and not kill each other? Like, I'm amazed. Like, that's incredible. I used to do these gigs at musos in London, and it was amazing. Like, they were so talented, and I would go up and they'd come up and be like, man, we love, like they loved me. Like, the crowd loved them, but they liked me. I was just always amazed by that. But yeah, it's a funny I think like the point to do a classic circle back, like one of your patented circle backs.
There we go.
That's the point I was trying to make.
I did invent them, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm very proud of you. They based the wheel off them. It's nice and round. To explain the joke to the people. Anyway, so what the fuck was that? Yeah, I find that thing where they say we look brave and stuff really funny, because like that implies that while we're up there, we look like we're having such a bad time that it's like a war, you know, like it's like someone being told they have cancer. It's like, that's how we appear to them on the stage. And it's like, no, I'm having fun, dude. I'm drunk. Like, I'm really enjoying myself. Like, I'm sorry it came across that way. I'm not brave at all. I'm having a ball. This is sick. Like, I get paid for this. Does that not hurt your feelings? I get this. Like, it's not brave. It's dumb financially, but I still get paid, you know?
Oh man, yeah, it's literally the pokey. Like, you put in, like, whenever you get, like, you put in like hundreds of dollars, and then when you actually get like a small payout, it's a win for you. Like, that's what I look at it like. But the difference is I actually enjoy doing comedy, whereas like people are like, oh, I just do it for the fun of gambling. Dude, there's no fun in fucking like, there's no.
People love it though. I mean, yeah, it's funny now because like comedy's like my job now. So like,
One day
it's
maybe
really-
I'll get there.
Yeah. Oh man, like more people should do it. Like it's hard. It's fucking hard in this country. I'll tell you that for free. It's much easier elsewhere. But yeah, it's funny because like I still remember like those first like years where I would like drive to Newcastle like 2 hours each way for like an unpaid 10. You know, like I'd be like, oh, I have to go. Like, how could I not? Like on my Saturday night, of course, I want to drive to Newcastle for free. Yeah, I'll drive the other acts. No, I won't ask for petrol money. Let's go. I remember like I had one. Steve Philp. He like put it in my like windscreen wiper when he left the car, just to be like, take some fucking money. I'm getting paid. I do this for a living. You're an idiot. Just take the money for petrol. Yeah, it's funny. It's like it's really cool. I think the coolest moment of comedy is when no one's paying you. I think that's like the coolest bit, like the most fun. Like
I feel like it's one of those things you don't. It's like primary school or high school, dude. When you're doing it, you don't realize how good it is until after, and you look back. I'm assuming it's like that. Like right now, like I've heard. Like again, podcasts. It's the only way I connect with comedians.
Oh, so you're in Canberra. There's like 7 comedians down there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
2 of them are Chris Ryan. That's
Dude,
great.
and I'm the other one's Ryan, Chris, not to be mistaken. But I don't even count as one of those 7 too. So like, it's only part of what I aspire
If
to.
you're not part of that 7, I'm gonna walk off this fucking podcast right now. You know, like I was led to believe that you were an important member of the 7. I would say top 5 of the 7. So
Hey. Well,
rapidly.
Well, I mean, I'm probably in the top 5 comedians in Canberra with an ABN, maybe.
Well, look, you got to take the victories.
That's the worst part. Having the ABN, you get to see how fucking shit of a financial investment being a comedian actually is.
Oh, I mean, I've got. Don't even get me started on this stuff. But the fact that in a regular job, like these functional people, like accountants, get paid like a wage where like their business takes out the tax for them, and like they just get like a group certificate at the end of the year, and it's like here, and they're like thanks, and that's the end. And like comedians and musicians who are the biggest idiots, like I know, like we have to just figure it out. Like, we're like this small business enterprise somehow. It's like, hey, did you keep your receipts? It's like, what? That's why they kept asking me at the service station. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I can get deductions for depreciation. You say my laptop's worth less. What is going on? Like, why are we the ones who are expected to know about this shit?
Out of all people. It's actually a really good point. I spoke about this. Actually, he's in Newcastle now. Bradley Bishop, a Canberra comedian. He sort of is around the like maybe 3-year mark, maybe.
Yeah.
He was on my podcast and we're chatting about the times that you go away and do a gig, and then you're just like, dude, I've never gone to a gig, done anything and lost money and felt so happy as I do when I do it for comedy.
Yeah.
Like,
Man.
you were talking about relationships, like me being in one in order to like, instead of being that guy that's always on Tinder just hooking up with chicks, I need to like offer a 6-month commitment.
Of course.
It's like, I'll go to a gig, like you said, 2 hours each way, not get paid, whatever. But then someone will go like to the south of Canberra when they live north side for a date and then be mad that they have to pay for it.
They got to cross the river. They're like, this is bullshit.
Yes.
Wait, is it a river? No, it's Lake Burley Griffin. Isn't
That's
it?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm misdiagnosing my Canberra. It was like, before comedy, I'd never been to Adelaide. I'd never been to Perth. I don't think I've been to the Gold Coast since I was like 10. Like, you go around, like you get to kind of be in that, and like that's interesting. And like, yeah, like the first so many fringe festivals and comedy festivals, I made a loss, like for sure. Like, you know, and you're there for a month and you're like, it's all consuming. Like you are actively stabbing your mental health, like just for this stupid thing. And it's great. Like it's really fun. Like, yeah, it's kind of weird because like a lot of people find it really hard. And like, I get that. Like I do get why it's hard, but like it is really fun. Like to think that most people, their whole day is like emails and like things like, and just nothing like, and you know, I still get to complain about my job to them
as part of your job.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, you know what sucks? You guys. And they're like, yeah, that's about $20.
It's like another comedian that I listen to the podcast, Dean Delray. He's a opener for Bill Burr.
I worked with him when I did some Zoom stuff with Burr. He was so funny.
Holy shit, dude! Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah, I did some shows. I did two actually. He did the first one. That was like for a charity in America. Bill did this gig on Zoom. It was like when America was still locked down. It was like this kid got injured playing hockey. I think like this kid in Boston.
Yeah.
So Bill did this show where he just like gave all the proceeds.
Yeah.
And it was like very limited tickets. I think it was like 1,000 people or something. And yeah, like because I was associated with like the comedy club, which I put it in inverted commas because it's an online comedy club. Like, Dan, do you want to open? And I was like, cool. So I got to like, you know, very minimal, but just like, you know, introduce them, do like a quick set, and then yeah, like Del Rey was like so funny. I'd never heard of him.
Oh, dude, yeah, fuck,
it was great. Sorry, like fun kind of stories off the back of that is so with Del Rey, I was like, hey man, like I grabbed him on Twitter and was like, hey man, I really liked your set, like you were so funny, blah blah blah. And then he replied back being like, thanks bro, really appreciate the support, come to a show sometime. So he just clearly had forgotten
that you were the dude,
the other guy on the show apart from Bill, and just thought I was like some fan congratulating him. So that was fun. And then the second one is that Bill Burr mentioned me on his podcast, but he called me Danny something or other. And like the club said it to me like, you got mentioned on his podcast, man. And like I was like, that's so cool because like Bill Burr is like such a big deal like to me. And, like,
same.
So great. And like and then I like listened to the recording and it's like this guy from Australia, he was hilarious, and I'm like, oh my god. And he's like, his name was Danny something or other. I don't know. He was great.
Holy
like,
shit, dude! Because I actually heard that episode. I've been listening to the Monday Morning Podcast for a few years now, probably about 5 years. And I remember hearing that episode and being like, because it was just when I started getting into sort of doing my podcast and that sort of shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'll have to look that guy up and like see if I can get him for a guest one day. And then I was like, oh, I can't really backtrack it enough to work out who Danny something or other was. So, hey, look, I accidentally fulfilled one of my fucking long-term goals today and I didn't even realize.
Hey, look, mate, congratulations. Here I am in the flesh. My wife was like, so are you going to legally change your name to that? And I was like, shut the fuck up. She's like, it'll probably help your career. And I was like, shut up.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, yeah, Del Rey, but he was saying just the quote from Del Rey, which, like, I fucking, it just goes to show how much of how committed he is to the lifestyle, because you obviously need to be committed to to first 10 years of not getting paid before you can start to try and get a following and get an income from it. But he was saying that I'd prefer to work 16 hours a day for myself than 8 hours a day for someone else.
Yeah, I think that's a really, beautiful way to put it. And like, don't get me wrong, I think we kind of get sold that a little bit in companies. They're like, hey, no, you want to work here. We treat you real good. Look at the hoodie with the branding on it. It's free. It's yours. Take it. Work 12 hours now. No, I'm not going to pay you. But like, you know, there's a bit of that. But yeah, I mean, that's it. It's funny because like, I think a lot of people see me as someone who works very hard, which like I take as a compliment. I think in Australia it's probably seen as an insult, but that's okay. That's our weird cultural heritage where trying hard is somehow a horrific thing. But genocide is fine. Anyway, so sorry.
Don't worry, man. Yeah. My audience isn't going to be the kind that's like, oh, good, he mentions the bad things from our past. Yeah, ours is more the likely to pay you out for being like a hardworking person. Don't worry.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so it's just like, yeah, I didn't get into comedy to not work. Like, you know, I hope that makes sense. Like, I didn't get into comedy to like not work. I got into comedy to work as a comedian. Like that's kind of it, you know. Like I'm happy to put in like a 12-hour day, but I just don't want it to be for like KPMG. I want it to be for Daniel Muggleton making people laugh, or like, you know, even like the admin side, like, you know, rooms that I've ran, or like things like, you know, I see the value in that, so I'm happy to work hard. I want to work hard because improving is what I want. So,
yeah,
like, you know, some people are like, oh, I got into comedy to smoke cones. And I'm like, no, you just have a marijuana addiction. You're not in comedy.
Yeah, that's a legit point though. Like it's like the first time you actually do a gig, like the first proper gig that I ever did is I opened for my buddy Bill Macon at the Canberra Comedy Festival. I think it was after I'd been doing comedy for like maybe 2 years or something.
Yeah.
And dude, just that it was like Goodfellas where they go in through the fucking kitchen, and he's just like, yeah, you know, like, hey, you don't need to go in through the front. You're like one of the fucking guys now. You go in through the back. You sit in the fucking green room. Like you get a beer. Like it's and then you add an open mic like a week later, and you feel like at the end of Goodfellas when he's in witness protection, he's like, I ordered like spaghetti and they gave me egg noodles with fucking pasta sauce, you know, and you're back on your ass again.
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny how everyone says like comedy is like a very humbling industry. I don't know. I don't count me on this story, but I've been told it. I don't want to be like, I might be wrong because I could have asked them drunk and I might have forgot.
It's like me with the Polly Shore story with yeah.
I could be wrong. Whatever. You get the point. But no, basically, the Umbilical Brothers, you know, some of Australia's best comedy exports of all time, were doing a spot on Letterman. They did a spot on Letterman, or like it was something on American TV. Like I forget exactly what it was. But when that aired, they were hosting the final of Green Faces in Canberra, which was like a new act competition. So like they were simultaneously like making their international debut on American TV, but also hosting a new act final.
Yeah, down in
50 people in a bar.
Yeah, at the Irish Club in Watson, dude. I used to do an open mic there.
Really? Yeah, no, dude, it's so funny. I just love it because like
Jeff ran it actually. Jeff used to run that room.
Ah, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
small world. But
yeah.
like, yeah, just, you know, you think you've made it.
Yeah.
On American TV, it's like, hey man, you want $500 to MC this thing in Canberra? Yeah, sure, done. Lock me in.
Fuck yeah, dude. I feel like work. Like it's yeah. I've always seen it as like I'll take stage time wherever I can get it, man. I used to go along to anywhere I could get up. Like I went up and did. This is. Dude, I'm not even like I'm not going to pretend this was years ago. Like 18 months ago, I went out. Oh, no, it was pre-lockdown. So like 2019, mid 2019. Friends were going to a karaoke bar. Dude, I can't fucking sing. So what do I do when it's my turn? Just chuck on the backing track I want to be like talking over for my comedy set and do fucking 20 minutes worth of random songs where I just talk shit to like the 40 mates that I had in the room with me.
Dude, that is crazy. I believe you must be banned from karaoke now. That is mental. And that's your friends. And they let you go? They let you do it?
To be fair, man, it would have been worse if I tried to sing, so.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess they're just like, fuck, this is actually the lesser of two evils. We're going to be okay.
yeah, so whatever I could get, whenever I can get on stage, get some mic time, I'll do it. We're talking earlier about my fans, and I did put a shout out for questions there, just to give you an idea. I know we're getting into the questions, fucking like whatever, towards the end of the thing, but whatever.
No, it doesn't matter.
Man, I love the flow. So let's get it. I'm going to select one question, which just gives an accurate description of my exact fucking fan base.
Sure.
They want to know: are you a folder or a scruncher?
Oh man, this is. I didn't realize your fan base was AM radio listeners. This is fun. We got to fold. I mean, I find that weird because like in my head to do anything else is absurd. Like I don't think I've ever scrunched.
Imagine scrunching just for one moment and just how much of a fucking animal you'd have to be.
It just seems so inefficient. Like folding, it's essentially creating your own ply, and like you've got basically one square, and if you can't hit your asshole with one square with like 12 ply on it, like I don't think you should be allowed to drive. Like I need a carer like immediately. Like, but then I say all this, I found out my wife scrunches. I was shocked. I was like, in this house, like that kind of...
It's been happening right under your nose this whole time, dude. And this is the thing. You feel like your bathroom's been defiled. You're like, we got this together. This was our sacred place, and I find that you're doing that. The other showstopper is the over/under on the roll, right? That wasn't a question, by the way. Although that's a very AM radio.
It's got to be over.
It's got to be over.
That I had an opinion until recently. Now I'll switch it. I'll like public restroom, private. I'll switch it. I'll switch it to the way that I want, and I'll leave it that way. Like it's my colonial blood coming out. You know, I'm like, this is how we toilet paper in my country. You know.
Yeah. I know that. We sort of ran like longer, but I'll do a couple of like just general questions here.
Please.
You're talking about like doing comedy in different parts of the world, like England. Have you done comedy anywhere else aside from through England?
Yeah, man. I've done Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, England, Scotland, Wales, Italy, Estonia, Latvia. Oh, did I do comedy in Latvia? I don't think I did comedy in Latvia. I was just there after Estonia. Netherlands, I did a bunch. Sweden, Finland, Norway, Poland, I've done a couple of times. Yeah, man, like around. Definitely not the US, never, because that would have been a violation of my visa. Definitely not the US. Wing. All right, we got it. Yeah, a fair few spots, man, to be fair.
Yeah, awesome. We were talking about different crowds and like crowd work in different areas, and that like sort of addressing you being from a different place if you're going to, especially like obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious at this fucking point. Just check my how many people follow me on Instagram. You'll know. If I haven't got that blue tick, but I haven't done comedy outside of Australia at this point.
Yes.
Just at the point of this recording, I mean, I might be fucking 12 years later and someone's going back and listening through my catalogue of the moment that my career just took a massive shift in the right direction and pinpointed it at this podcast. So hello, person from the future that's either trying to find a fucking Me Too moment in one of my previous episodes, or you really like me and you're trying to catch up on all my content. There you go. Got that out of the way.
Good stuff. I like it. I did enjoy the caveat. It's like, yeah, if I got hired by SNL and you're trying to fire me, fuck you. Anyway, if you're a fan though, thanks.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Fuck yeah, I'm glad we got that as a caveat for this fucking episode. To be fair, I feel like that's my only hope to get like multiple listeners on this, is if so they're trying to find some fucking thing to fuck you on.
Yeah.
So always shout out to the you know, whoever the fuck is listening back to try and pin one of us for something. Also, if you're trying to pin Daniel for something, make sure you come over and subscribe to my shit too. Like, while I'm getting some traffic this way, I may as well capitalize on it.
Yeah, I'll make sure all the articles written telling me that I need to be deplatformed and I should kill myself give a proper hyperlink to this podcast. It's like, if you want to listen to Daniel's controversial appearance, here it is right here. Thank you so much.
Exactly. I'll share that fucking thing. But yeah, we're talking about like crowd work and things like that. And I obviously haven't done comedy outside of Australia, but I feel like crowd work would be different in different like areas depending on you know, what's relatable or what you're addressing or whatever. And a lot of your social media, you upload like crowd work videos, which I totally want to do more of, because I think that a lot of that is content that you're happy to burn. Like, you're not going to recreate crowd work most of the time, whereas it's good content to have online.
Oh, man, I started doing that when I saw Paul Smith from the Hot Water Comedy Club, because he would do that all the time. And he could absolutely bang, and he's got a huge following off the back of it. And I was like, that is a sick idea. I will do that also.
I've got a couple of crowd work videos, obviously not as well filmed as yours. They're done by like a GoPro or whoever I was dating at the time that I told to record my set. Or like another comedian where like I said I'd record their set if they recorded mine, blah, blah.
Yeah. Good pro quo. Love it.
Yeah. Or like you record their set and they leave during the break and you're up in the second half because you told the MC that you had like some risky shit and he didn't want to put you up in front of the crowd that wanted to be there.
Oh, man, I've forgotten what all this feels like. I remember that. I remember being like, where should I put you? I remember that was the thing in one of the clubs in England. They're like, what kind of material are you doing? We don't want to put people with similar material back to back. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I love that that's like, we don't want to put them back to back, and it's not like we don't want to put people, like we don't want to put you up where you're going to make people walk out and miss the show for the other comedians that are doing more PC shit.
Yeah, they're like, it's just, I don't know. It's such a bizarre way to control a show. I don't know. They were just, it was like a new comics thing. I wasn't a new comic, so I would always just get the shits. Because they were like, how many gigs have you done? Just to get an idea of your experience. Like, I've been doing this 7 years. I moved here to do it professionally. Just put me on the fucking lineup. Like, God.
But yeah, with your crowd work.
My special there. Sorry. They're lovely. I feel bad. Angel comedy. I do have a lot of time for angel comedy. Anyway, sorry.
Good man. Shout out to the fucking whatever, the media controller for angel comedy that's just come back to try and find anywhere where you bad mouth in the future. Make sure.
I was like, oh geez, they were really good to me in the end. It was whatever. You know, you got to be nice. You can't.
No, it's like you're saying about getting mad at an accountant. You've got to like sometimes get mad about shit that you might not necessarily be mad about because it's part of the bit.
Yeah, you just got to lean into it. Anyway, come on.
He loves angel comedy so much that he had to say something because that's part of the bit.
Exactly.
There we go.
I had to bring something. I had to shout him out. All right. So Crowdwork International. What do you know?
So you've recently had a video that hit over a million views with the Don't Dog the Boys video. Where was that filmed?
That was filmed at Angel Comedy.
Angel
Comedy. It really was. It actually really was filmed.
Yeah.
How funny is that? It's fucking turned around beautifully. Yeah, that was filmed there. It was really funny because I came up with that joke, not the start, but like the most of it, because the start is kind of about the UK, but like the bulk of it, I came up with like 2017, and I filmed a special, and I forgot to record it. Both shows, I just forgot to say the joke.
Yeah.
Both shows. Like, I did 2 shows in one night, forgot both times, and I was just like, "Fuck, well, I guess I'm leaving it." And then yeah, it was really cool that it got such a good response, because like it was my favorite joke at the time too. Like, and I forgot it just because I'm a dummy. And yeah, so it was cool that it got so many views and people seem to, you know, vibe it, I guess is the word.
Yeah, for sure. Did I dig that? I dig that when you have a really good fucking joke that sometimes you'll forget it. Like, if it's your favorite joke, it's like it's so natural that you forget to do it. it's because that's what I find, because it's not forced. It's such a good bit that it's not a stress for you to do, because you enjoy doing it, that sometimes it's just too casual to do.
Yeah, you're not like the bits that need work, you're focused on, you've been thinking about them, you've been trying to fix them, but then the stuff that works well, you're like, yeah, fuck, that'll be fine. I don't need to worry about that one.
I love it when you have a comedian, they've got a favorite bit that they pull out when they start bombing. So like you watch them, and if they pull that bit out, you're just like, oh fuck, he reckons he's doing shit. Like he's pulled out that old favorite, eh?
Oh man, yeah, it's really, I forgot. Yeah, when you like really know someone's set, it's like very funny to just, when something goes wrong, it is the best. Like when you've seen this thing just kill so many times, you're like, yeah, just get through the fucking thing. And then something goes wrong, and you just immediately run to like the bit of the stage where you can actually like, so you can see the stage, so you can see the face, and you can see how they try and fix it. It's so great.
I described watching one of my buddies bomb on stage as the Mo when Homer's getting beaten up by fucking Drederick Tatum, and he's just like he's like, dude, I have to get the fuck out of here, and he just comes back in with the fan man and just airlifts him out of the ring. I literally, if I had a fucking fan man on me at some point, I would just sometimes, if I'm running an open mic and one of my buddies is on stage eating his, like, so I hyped this one of my mates up as like the closer at an open mic, like, oh fuck, he's the closer, and then like he's trying new shit, gets up there and just fucking eats his dick, and the best part about it was he opened with the new stuff, knowing that he had like reliable material to go to, to win him back if it didn't work. Yeah. Tries doing the reliable shit, and they fucking hate that as well, dude. They hate it more because he's delivered it with like confidence that they were like,
yeah, he's like, I don't know who this is. I want to keep it that way. I want this to just be a random comedian. Played that 100% wrong. And, like, not even close to playing that right. You go out, you address the fact that you're last, you're not the best, you're just last, right? That's how you start. And then you start with a good joke that establishes who you are as a comedian. You finish that, they laugh, and then you get into the new shit, and then you pepper in old to save it whenever you're losing them, and then at the end. So completely wrong play there. You hate to see it, but I mean, I would have loved to watch it, but you do hate to see it. You know?
Oh man. So I told this guy that analogy, like the fan dude doesn't say anything. He just walks off laughing at himself and just being last up. He just gets in his fucking car and goes, right? The next day, I just get a GIF from him on Facebook Messenger of the fan man lifting Homer out of the ring. Like, that's just the only fucking communication I got.
He knows.
Oh, man. But,
we got anything else, or we got to wrap this thing up?
No, well, I mean, we could talk for ages, man, to be honest with you. I dig the flow of the episode, and it's been good to fucking chat to you after it's been over 12 months, I think, that that you came to Canberra and did a gig with Jeff when I met you in person.
No, that can't be right. It must be like 6, because I think it was like before the festival season this year, so maybe like February or something. No,
yeah.
I've got a good.
Good point. Yeah.
But that's why, but hopefully I'll be back in Canberra soon.
Yeah, dude. So
lockdown's allowing.
Yeah, pending travel restrictions, it'd be cool to fucking have you back here, man. Before we head off, you mentioned actually your commentation on the bombing was, of my mate, was actually very much like a sports presenter. Have you got any shout outs that you'd like to do relating to sports presenter, perhaps linked to the Olympics or anything like that?
Jeez, you fucking lined me up here. Like, what, I'm doing a shout out to sport? What was that? Like, as in, it was kind of like a Roy and HG thing. I'm talking you through what happened out there.
Yeah, exactly. It was literally like that. I am an AM radio fan, so we need to understand that a lot of my fans are used to listening to sports via audio only.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, honestly, it's really funny because like I do feel like I don't know if it'd be interesting to anyone, but commentating stand-up comedy is very funny to me because you see it. Like you see, like, oh, he's gone for it there. Big new idea. He thought he was going to bring the house down, get him on board, but they've not gone with it. And unfortunately, he has written nothing apart from the premise. So he has nowhere to go. He's going to flounder. He's going to repeat himself. He's going to say fuck a few too many times. The audience isn't buying it. Not confident. It is flailing. They've realized. He started to sweat. He grabbed at the mic stand, missed it by an inch. No good. He's going to have to work hard to recover here. He's dove into the old, but his eyes are glazed over because he's still thinking about why the new bit didn't work. The audience haven't bought it. It's the end of the show. He's laughing while he walks off, but inside he is crying and wishing Mark had a fan.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, it took me to the end of the show, but I think I found my clip. But yeah, dude, you have shout out. So you've got your podcast that you do with Steve. Do you want to do a shout out with that?
Yeah, please. If you've enjoyed me talking, I do the same thing with an American man called Steve Hofstetter, a very successful and funny comedian in his own right. We do it every Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. Australian time. It's on Zoom. It's a very interactive show as well, so you can actually ask us questions. Like today, I feel like I dodged the bulk of the questions. But yeah, also the best places to find me are just at Dan Muggleton on Instagram. That's probably the best shout. Yeah.
Awesome.
Just, the Running Joke is my regular club in Sydney where I host every week.
Yeah, that's right, man. I'll put links in the description to any of the your socials and things like that as well for anyone who wants to jump over there. You know me, if you're listening to this episode, you already know who I am, I guess. There's no you imagine if you just accidentally stumbled on the podcast and just didn't know any of my socials, which I link to the podcast. But if that is the chances, if this is someone looking back to try and cancel Dan in the future, make sure you check me out at Marky Worthington Comedy on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and you can find me on Twitter at Marky Comedy.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers for being on, dude.
Don't buy me a drink. Just name names.
Yeah, right. Big Tony. You'll get fucking thrown
Out
out.
of the strip club with your floppy disk.
All day.
Make people feel shamed for shit all day.
Don't blow
Turn
it.
it into a hard drive.
Yeah, right. You'll get fucking... We're here to
Keep it simple. Count your money.